Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Do the Math. I'm Michael.
I'm Marylou.
And in studio with us we have Vinny. And Vinny, if somebody needed to get a hold of us, what would they need to do?
For math homework help, call in Bakersfield 636-4357. Toll free 1-866-636-6284. Email dothemath@kern.org. They are online at dothemathonline.net and on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
All right, nicely done. Now, Vinny, where do you go to school and what grade are you in?
I go to Warren Junior High and I'm in 8th grade.
All right, so your 8th grade year, obviously a little different than what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But you kind of got used to it at the end of last year. So what is one thing that you're most looking forward to in high school next year?
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing?
I was kind of hoping we stayed online because I don't have to wake up as early.
Oh, well, see, there you go. See, that's one thing that you might be looking forward to is, so you like the online stuff simply because of the hours?
Yes.
All right. Do you think the work is easier when you're doing it at home and doing an online class?
Kind of, yeah. It's kind of what we do during school, but it's like online help, and you have parents at home. They're easier to
Okay, so you've got somebody there that can kind of help you out and stuff like that if you need it and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. All right, well, good. You ready to do some math today?
Yes.
All right, well, we're going to get to you in just a couple of moments because I know you've got some great math problems to work on in your math book. But before we do any of that, we're first going to take a look at today's Math in the News. And for today's Math in the News, once again, we are fortunate enough to have somebody come in and visit us. Today, Jaime from Valley Strong Credit Union. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Nice to have you in. I know that Valley Strong has been a partner with Do the Math, I think, since we started, I think just about basically 19 years ago. It used to be Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, in case there are some students watching. Where's Valley Strong? I never heard of Valley Strong before. So what is your role with the credit union?
I'm the Multicultural Business Development Officer. So basically I go out in the community, I talk to everyone out in the community, try to bring business back into the credit union. And right now, actually letting them know that Valley Strong is the same institution as Kern Schools Federal Credit Union. Nothing has really changed except that we're now expanding, we're adding services. So it's really a win-win for everybody.
And how long have you been with the credit union?
Me, myself, I've been with the credit union 19 years.
Oh my gosh, all right. Well, I've been here 19 years. You've been with the credit union 19 years.
Yes.
What a lovely little thing we got going on here. Now, how did you get started? What got your interest to get into this field?
I actually was a college student needing a job. I didn't want to do fast food just because I had done it for a while, and so I kind of wanted something different. My major was in marketing, so I wanted to go into actually finance just to kind of try that out. And so I was a part-time teller for about 2 years and then became full-time. And then every time I was ready to move on and pursue something else, I got promoted and got into a different department and learned about that. So eventually I did loans for a while, and now I'm in marketing and business development. So I'm actually using my degree.
Oh, good. Well, perfect.
Yes.
I know that you mentioned a little bit about how when you were in college and that's how you got into it and things like that. I know that there are programs that you guys help sponsor with the Kern High School District.
Yes.
And have ways for students to work with the credit union. So can you speak a little bit about that?
So up to just recently, we had 5 what we call high school branches. And so what these are, there are actual branches. We have tellers and we have people who help the community with their deposits or withdrawals in high school campuses. And so just recently we opened another branch at our new CTEC institution. So we're really excited about that. That actually opened up this week. So now we have a total of 6.
And that's down by Independence High School, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this isn't like for the high school students, and people may be hearing about this for the first time, it's not like a practice thing. Like as a credit union member myself, I could go to one of these high schools during the day
Yes.
and actually take care of my business that I need to do with these high school students as the employees.
So the
in
students
training.
actually, it's more like an elective or so. So they go, they sign up for the program, and they are actually at our branch. They learn how to use our system and do withdrawals and deposits. And so it really does prepare them so that after high school, that most of them are hired on into our institutions. So yeah, and we've had our managers come out of this program. So we're really delighted. This program really works, and so it is expanding.
Good, and we can see some of the footage that you brought. These are the same branches, but
Yes.
with a little different look now.
Yes. So we have opened a few branches just recently, and then we've actually expanded up in the north as well into Larry and Visalia communities. So a lot of these individuals have actually gone through the program, and so now they work for us.
And was that one of the main reasons for the change in name because of the expansion north?
It was because we wanted to make sure that it was something that could relate to them, that was also true to us, and we all live in the valley, and we're always going to be part of this valley. So, and we are a strong credit union, so we actually let the community vote. So surveys were sent out, and and people actually voted for this name, and so it was really surprising for all of us that they chose, Valley Strong. We went through hundreds of names and combinations, and this is what it was narrowed down to and voted for. And so when people say, who picked your name, it was actually the community. And
do you let the guys in the higher up at Valley Strong know that you're the one that suggested Valley Strong to put it on the ballot?
Yeah, I was the one who snuck that in.
All right, I know you guys are involved in the community a lot. I know that you guys have supported CSUB athletics in the past and things like that. So are there other avenues, things that are going on right now that Valley Strong is working with?
So with COVID, it's kind of a unique situation. We still support all of our schools, all of our high schools. We do support CSUB, Bakersfield College. Anything academic-wise, athletics in the schools, we really do. And then we are actually taking that up north as well.
All right, good. Well, you know what? We certainly do appreciate you taking out some time to come visit us.
Yes.
Congratulations on 19 years.
Yes,
one thing we've got
you.
going, 19 years at both of our spots. A lovely partnership. We can't be happier that Valley Strong has been a partner with Do the Math for a very long time, and hopefully for many more years to come.
For sure.
All right. That is today's Math in the News. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30 this afternoon, as we do most Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and need to make a programming note right now. Since it is November 10th, with Veterans Day tomorrow, there will be no live programming tomorrow on Wednesday, November 11th, 2020. I need to say that now because there are reruns all the time, and it's like, oh, when's that show been on, things like that. So no live programming tomorrow on November 11th, 2020, but there will be pre-recorded programs on there, and we'll return to live programming next week. All right, Vinny, an 8th grade student from Warren Junior High, you've got some excellent problems to work on, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Head on over to the board, young lady. We're going to take a look at one on the board right now. We'll take a look at the camera. And here is the problem. So number 4, given the functions f of x equals, now I don't know if you guys want to write any of this down, and then we'll go ahead and get working on it, equals 7x minus 2 and g of x equals 3x plus 6. And we need to find the value of x for f of x equals g of x.
All right, Vinny, what do you think?
So do me a favor first, before you get going, Vin. On your first one up on the top where it says equals 7x, maybe erase that because it kind of looks like a Z and some students might go, oh, is that a Z? Because we're using a lot of different letters here.
My bad.
Perfect, thank you. All right, ladies, take it away.
Okay, so what are you thinking?
Don't remember exactly how to do this problem.
Okay, well, we know that right off the get-go, let me write it over here. We know that, oop, go to there, that f of x, it does not want to write for me today. Okay, write for me f of x equals g of x. So we know that those two have to equal, right? So on the side of f of x, let's write that expression, which is what?
7x minus
Okay. Equals what?
3x plus 6.
So now we need to solve for what variable?
X.
We need to solve for x. So what would you say, how can we start solving for x? What do you think we need to do?
Add 2 to both sides.
Well, we could do that, but let's think about x. Can we try to solve down that x first?
So subtract 3 on both sides.
Yeah, there we go. Let's subtract 3x on both sides. (4x), and do we need to bring down the minus 2 as well?
-2,
Okay, now let's solve the right side.
Then you add 2 to both sides.
Right. So we're left with 4x equals 8. Are we done yet?
No.
So what do we need to do to solve for that x?
We have to divide 4 on both sides.
There you go.
And then 8 divided by 4 equals 2.
So what does our x equal?
X equals 2.
There you go. Nicely done. Remember, we're trying to balance out those. Just like, you know, any other equations where we're trying to solve for the variable, that's what the same steps that you're doing here, okay? Is balancing those two sides out.
There you go, nicely done. So you've got a little starter right there. So you ready for another one?
Yeah.
All right, that's what I wanted to hear. Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue on in your book. We'll take a look at number 9 right now. All right, so it says, write the first 4 terms of the sequence. The domain of the function is the set of consecutive integers starting with 1.
Okay.
So we have f of n
Okay, write that down. F of n
is equal to 3n, open parentheses, n plus 3, close parentheses.
And it's the first 4 sequence, right?
Correct.
Okay, so if we're doing the first 4 sequence, then what's the first number we're going to replace with n?
1.
Perfect. So obviously all the n's are going to be replaced with the number
1.
1. Okay, let's see that. Okay, and talk this through, how you're solving it.
So first you do 1 plus 3, which equals 4. Then you have to multiply 1 times 4, which equals 4. Then you bring down the 3, and you do
Okay, let's think of order. Oh, there you go.
3 times 4.
Can we do order of operation? We have the 3n side by side, which is 3. You're still getting the same.
Yeah.
You're still getting 3, right? Same anyways, 3 times 4. Keep going.
Which equals 12. So first one is 12.
Okay, now just erase the 1s, right? And what's
Yeah.
the next one we're going to put in?
2.
Okay, so at the top, let's start a list. So we know our first number is 12. And then let's put 2 in.
Okay.
Oh, use your eraser.
Oh,
There you go. Just do a big circle. Perfect. Oh, you gotta hit it with the eraser. Try it one more time.
Dang, my bad.
Perfect, there you go.
So you do 2 plus 3, which equals 5.
Okay, and remember your order
You
of
have to do 3
operation.
times 2 before, so 6. And then you multiply 6 times 5, which equals 30.
Perfect, there's our second number.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got it down. There you go. So now we're on the third sequence.
So 3 plus 3 equals 6. Then you multiply 3 times 3, which equals 9. And then you do 9 times 6, which equals 54.
Oh, there you go, one more time. I think because you're flipping the pin.
Yeah. Let me just.
There.
Let's just keep that there.
All right, and we're on the last sequence.
4. So 4 plus 3 is 7. Then we do 3 times 4, which is 12. And 12 times 7 is 84. So F4 equals 84.
Okay, so read us all four of our sequence then.
So F of 1 equals 12, F of 2 equals 30, F of 3 equals 54, and F of 4 equals 84.
And you know, a lot of people when they see that question, they're like, oh, this is going to be really super difficult. Really, it's not. All we're doing is plugging in the numbers and solving for the equation.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
There you go. Lovely. And I've got one more for you. So we
Okay.
started kind of in the middle of the page. We went down. Now let's go to the top of the page.
Okay,
All right.
go ahead and erase that.
So Vin, I don't know if you can see on the lower monitor. There you go. You can see. Which one of those would you like to work on?
The last one.
The last one, f of 5?
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead. F of 5 is equal to 8 times 5, so parentheses with the 5, plus 6 equals 46. And the first 5 terms are 14, 22, 30, 38, 46. And it says use the explicit rule and substitute the values for 1 through 5 for n. So kind of explain what this means for students that have never seen this vocabulary and language with this problem.
Okay. So F of.
Well, do we already have 1, 2, 3, 4? Do we have the first 5?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's f of 5, are we finding the 5th sequence?
Yes. No.
Is that what we're doing on this one?
Yes.
So if it's telling us, is it already kind of solved out for us?
Yes.
So what exactly is the question again?
I want explanation for
Okay.
students that aren't seeing this for the first time. They're going, oh, what is this? What's the explicit rule? What does this mean?
Okay. So
Explicit
think back to what we just did with the 4
Mm-hmm.
sequences. What were the rules? What were we doing? What did we need to follow?
We had to replace all the ends with, for example, 5. So basically, it would be like this, but you would replace the n with 5.
So write that out as of f of n. What does that look like for f of n?
So f of n.
Without the 5, just write it with the variables.
N, and then let me do it up here.
So on this, that is the equation, right?
Yeah.
Already, without any numbers plugged into the end.
Mm-hmm.
So what it's really saying is that we could plug in any number for f of n, and we can solve it out.
Yeah.
And we could come up with a sequence, because we're using the consecutive numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're using those consecutive numbers so we can find the first 5 sequences. Whereas the first one we didn't find the first 5, we found the first 4. So again, we're just simply, like you said, replacing the variable with a number, okay? There you go.
There you go. Nicely done. Well, you've done some great work so far today, Vinny. And for your great effort, we've got yourself a meal courtesy of our friends at Chick-fil-A. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
So I've got one question for you. Have you ever been to Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
You have?
Yes.
You like that Chick-fil-A?
I love it.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, I think you love it. I don't know if you love it more than I do. I'll tell you, that stuff is so good over there. What's your favorite? Well, you're looking at me like you love it? You love it.
Yes.
What is your favorite meal over there?
I usually get the little chicken pieces.
All right, so you get the chicken nuggets, the pieces?
Yeah.
They're good. You get a sauce with them?
Yes.
What one?
I usually get barbecue, but sometimes I get Chick-fil-A sauce.
All right, well, you know what? Nice to see that you love the Chick-fil-A, as we all do here at Do the Math. Anyway, we will have phone tutors available until 5:30. We'll be back with more right after this.
What I'm going to do is show you the cockpit. This is the fun part of the airplane as far as I'm concerned as a pilot. This is a huge flight computer. The engines are all based on numbers and things like that. So let me turn on some of the stuff to give you a little example of.
Okay.
And what you're going to start seeing is you're going to start seeing a lot of numbers, and you're going to start seeing a lot of information. And all this information is giving me input to be able to fly this airplane. And what's so amazing about this system is that this airplane can pretty much fly itself. It's just a matter of programming and telling the airplane exactly what it is I want it to do. We put the numbers in for takeoff weights, and it tells us exactly how long the runway has to be. It tells us what power settings we have to set in the engines. It tells you at what time we need to rotate the airplane at what speed, and it tells you what speed we'll be climbing at to get the max performance. And these are all flight instruments here. These are engine instruments here. This is a fuel gauge here. We have weather radar here for looking for thunderstorms, rain, snow, things like that. Lighting system here. These are the engine controls here for the power. With these 2 throttles full forward, we're producing over 8,200 pounds of thrust for takeoff. This particular airplane can go from a dead stop and rotate at about 140 miles an hour in less than 3,500 feet.
That's fast.
That's fast, and you can feel it, and that's the exciting part about flying this particular airplane. Down here we have 2 navigational systems that work independently and together. They're both called universal navigation. They all run off GPS navigation off the satellites.
Now, why are there 2?
One is a backup, and they're always comparing the information. And if the information all of a sudden changes, something's going wrong in one of the units, it notifies us that, hey, you really want to watch this because things aren't jiving here.
Okay.
So everything you'll find in an airplane, there's not one system in this airplane that stands alone.
There's always 2.
There's 2 systems that always have a backup, 2 engines, you know, these both do exactly the same thing, you know. So if one fails, I have the ability to be able to switch these displays from one unit to another unit.
Right.
Let's say this fails. So I can take this information, I can put it over on that
Transfer it
screen.
over.
That's right.
Okay.
So we have the capability of being able to do that. Here's the annunciator panel here. This tells us all kinds of different things about the systems, what's working, if there's any issues with engines. Both engines are off right now, so we have all the warning signs for the left engine and for the right engine. And so this is my office. This is where I work. And this is the most fun there is.
And as long as you're not claustrophobic or afraid of heights,
well,
this could be great.
And I think, you know, when you first get in the airplane, you're overwhelmed by what you see.
Right, I think there's a lot of students or a lot of kids will be looking at this going, all right, there's a lot of things going on here. What exactly do I need to look at first?
Yes.
What's the most important?
And
so how long does it take let's say you've got a student, they just graduated high school.
Okay.
And they're looking into a career in aviation. An idea of how long it would take to understand what's going on here.
You know, it's a process. It's just like learning to walk. You know, you crawl before you walk, and then you walk before you run, and you run before you become a marathoner, right? So it's the same thing in aviation. What you do is you start studying and learning about the things we discussed, ailerons, elevators, wings, things like that. Then you learn about how an airplane flies. And then once you get that down, then you move on to navigation. You move on to communication. And then once you understand it all and you're flying a small airplane, then you start getting experience of actually going out and doing it, flying in the weather, shooting approaches. When I say that, you come down through the clouds and you don't see anything. You pop out of the clouds and guess what? There's your airport. And that's kind of some of the most fun things about flying, is being able to do that and make this airplane perform to those standards.
And it does allow a person a sense of freedom
Oh, yeah.
that you can't experience.
I'm going to tell you something. When
otherwise.
you're in this airplane and you're sitting up here, which is the best view in the house, at 41,000 feet, and you're looking down at the world, you just ask yourself, they actually pay me to do this? This is so much fun.
Hey, you know, we tell the students that all the time. If you can find a career where you enjoy it and
Yeah.
you're like, I love this and I'm actually getting paid to do it,
That's right.
you have found your spot.
And I'm going to tell you, aviation is a wonderful career. I would recommend for your students to look hard at aviation. You know, not only flying airplanes, but working on airplanes and fueling airplanes. And, you know, anything to do in aviation is a very romantic, very exciting business. You ask yourself, okay, we're flying along at 43,000 feet. Well, the air is pretty thin up at 43,000 feet. How do we breathe? It's based on pressurization.
Well, as I've said many times here on Do the Math, we do love our aviation and all of our friends in that field here at Do the Math. We do have phone tutors available until 5:30. Time now for today's Museum Moment. All right, and today we're fortunate enough to have a representative from the Bakersfield Museum of Art, Lorraina. And Lorraina, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you for asking.
What exactly is your role with the Museum of Art?
I'm an art educator and museum assistant, so I help out in the education program, teaching students artwork. Also, during events, I help out during gallery openings and all that.
And I know that you guys have things going on the weekends. Can you kind of like quickly tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, this fall, Saturday Studio is back, and we're going to be having art classes for kids 6 to 16. So it's every other Saturday. To register, you could go to the bmoa.org, or you could call the museum. And the classes, we usually go over elements of art. We go over different art techniques as well.
All right, good. Well, you know what? Like you said, kids 6 to 16, we've got a kid for you right now that fits that age parameter. You've got Vinny over there, so you guys go ahead and let's see what you've got.
All right. So for this activity, we're going to be talking about cityscapes. So Bakersfield is a beautiful city, and we're going to be going over two-point perspective. And this is a fun way to create 3D, or the illusion of three-dimensional shapes. So we have cubes, and then we're focusing on the element of lines. There's a lot of lines in this project. So we're gonna keep it simple. We're gonna be using paper, rulers, and pencils. So to start off our project, again, this is two-point perspective, 2 points. These lines are going to be intersecting at these points, and then we're going to get a three-dimensional shape, or the illusion of three-dimensional. So to start off, we're going to draw our horizon line. So do you know what a horizon line is?
Yes.
Yeah. So this line we use to separate the land from the sky. So a simple line all the way across. We're using our rulers. Good.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So now we're going to add our vanishing points. So these are 2 little dots we have at each edge. So add a little dot there and a little dot there. So we want to create these cube forms. So this 2-point perspective helps a lot to help us create these really easy way to create these cubes. So about halfway down, we're going to add a vertical line. So about from here to here. So we're going to create the sides for our buildings. So vertical line, good. All right, so now we're going to go from here to the dot.
Okay.
We want to intersect to the dot up here. So each edge. Also down here, align it to our vanishing point. Same thing on this side. There we go. Excellent. So now to create the sides for our walls, we're going to add 2 more vertical lines, and you could have these lines long if you want a long building, or short if you want a shorter building. So you're going to go from the line down here all the way up here. Good. And the same thing on the other side. And then we're almost done with our cube. Now we're going to add the top. So we're going to go from this corner. We're going to align it to the vanishing point on this side. And you go from there to there. Perfect. Also on the other side. So align your ruler to our vanishing point. And there's our first building, our first cube. And you got a door to help you look, make it look more interesting. And then on your own, you're the artist, you could add windows. But let's add 2 more buildings. So we're going to line our ruler. We want this one to be a little bit taller. So add a line to there. And then we're going to go from this corner to this dot. And add a line there. So from here to there, to our vanishing point. Then we want the side. You see how this one has like the side of this building? So we're going to make a vertical line. Somewhere around here, depending on how long you want it. You can make it short. And then a straight vertical line going up. Perfect. So we're going to use that line that we just made. We want the top. So you're going to go from this corner to this dot right here. Excellent, good job.
It's a little crooked. Yes. Okay.
All right, so now we're going to create the side of the wall. And again, this could be a long building or a short building. But just line it up to this second line that we have up here. So not the one at the top, but this one right here. Excellent. And then from here, you don't have to go all the way down, but this is just for the top part. And you're just gonna go to there. And that's the top of our building. And then you got a door. Do something. Okay. All right. So let's add our second and last building really quick. Same thing we're gonna do. We're gonna make it a little bit taller. Perfect. Leave some space. And you're gonna go up, another vertical line. Perfect. And then you're gonna add, let's add our door now. So you can visualize our cityscape. Then you're gonna go from here to the dot. Perfect. Same thing on this side. But you don't want to go all the way down, you could just do it till here. Perfect. And then right here, do you have this line here? You're going to come down and close it. So this is our second building.
You ladies are doing great. You've got about 2 minutes left.
2 minutes? Okay. Good job. So when you're done with your buildings, you're gonna erase some of these lines. We don't need these lines right here. We just need our cubes. And then you can use these lines inside to help you draw your windows. Good job. And then you can add your sidewalks, your background, you can add any detail for your sky. It could be cloudy, sunny.
Thunderstorms?
Thunderstorm, like that's so good. A tornado. You're the artist. Yeah. And trees. One thing you want to think about when you're doing perspective is how things are getting further and further, or the illusion that things are getting further and further away, so you're drawing them smaller and smaller as you get closer to your vanishing point. So it's a different viewpoint, right? Because you're looking, say you're on top of a mountain and you're looking out and you're seeing how your eye can only see so much. But when you're drawing, you want to draw them smaller and smaller as you get to create that depth.
All right, and Lorraina, if students see one of these activities and they like, this is pretty fun, I want to do some more of these, once again, where can students and parents go to find out more?
At www.bmoa.org.
All right, well, Lorraina, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
Little two-point perspective right there, and finding the vanishing point and then doing everything off of a point that you set.
Yes.
And seeing the math involved with that, and leads right into geometry and things with that also.
Yes.
Right? Thank you to Vinny for helping out also over that. All right, we'll be back with more right after this.
Hi folks, how y'all doing? I'm Dean, some people call me Shade, I work at Keefe, and I want to talk to you today about this right here, okay? No, not an M&M, this is not an M&M, this is actually a miniature Earth model. We're going to be talking about the Earth and the Earth's surface. Now we need this miniature Earth model. Now some of you are like, it's an M&M. No, see, it's got an M on it. It stands for miniature. Or you can turn it upside down and it'd be world. Or you could turn it one way and it'd be a 3, which means the third planet from the sun. Or you could turn it the other way, which would be an E, which stands for Earth. Fine, some of you are like, it's an M. Stop messing around. Okay, fine, it's an M. It stands for mundo. Okay, otherwise known as a world. So we're going to talk about the surface of the Earth. But to talk about the surface of the Earth, we got to look inside the Earth. And so we're going to split this up, and I want you to look right here in the center. When you look in the center of the Earth, tell me, what do you see? No, it's not a peanut. It's a core of the Earth. The scientists call it the core of the Earth. Now, around the outside of the core, what do you see? No, it's not chocolate. It's the mantle. Then they think the mantle is hot, bubbling, boiling stuff. Now, look at that area right on the very edge. See that thin layer on the outside? Yep, that is called the candy coating, otherwise known as the crust. And that's where all the action is. That's what we're going to be talking about. The surface of the Earth is the crust of the Earth, and we're going to talk about how things happen on the crust of the Earth. Now, let's say I had a magical power. And for some stupid reason, I decided to get rid of all the plants on the surface of the land behind me. What would be left? You're saying dirt. No, dirt is what you have underneath your fingernails. Soil is what plants grow on. So that's all that would be left if I got rid of the plants. But let's say I continue to be really stupid and I get rid of all the soil. Then what would be left? What? No, not some strange man standing there with a goofy hat. No, you would be left with nothing but rock. That's what the surface of the Earth is made up of. It's a thin skin of living stuff, plants and animals and soil, covering vast amounts of rock. And you can see where there's parts of the rock poking through that living stuff. Now, the scientists that study the land and the rocks and the surface of the Earth are called geologists. They get to study all those different kinds of rocks. So some of you might be thinking, studying rocks sounds boring. Are you kidding me? There's over 1,000 different kinds of rocks in the world. Plus, there's all sorts of minerals like copper and iron and silver and gold and platinum and plutonium and things like that. Then there's all sorts of like gemstones that you can use as well. Geologists get to study so many things. There's really busy studying the rock. Oh, by the way, if a geologist wants to relax, you know where they relax? In a rocking chair. You know, like, all right, fine, whatever. Okay, so geologists classify rocks into 3 main categories, okay? The first category is called igneous rock or volcanic rocks. Oh, by the way, what did one volcano say to the other volcano? I lava you. Sorry, I'll keep trying, Okay, so there are 3 types of rock. One is igneous rock. Igneous rock is formed deep within the bowels of the Earth where hot molten magma squeezes up and then goes kablooey and forms a volcano. But they don't always go kablooey, as we'll learn later, okay? The other type of rock is sedimentary rock. Sedimentary rock is formed from erosion. When other rocks are eroded and all the sediment goes down into the water in an ocean or a bay or a lake or something, and it lays down there and more sediment goes down and more sediment until you get layer upon layer upon layer of sedimentary rock squeezing together, forming rock, sedimentary rock. Our final type of rock is called metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock is changed rock. Metamorphosis means a change. And that means you'll take either sedimentary rock or igneous rocks, and through heat and pressure, they get changed and they turn into metamorphic rock. So our 3 types of rock are igneous rock, sedimentary rock formed in the oceans, and metamorphic rock. And so we're going to look a little bit closer in detail at some of those a little bit later. And I'll see if I can dig up some more geology puns for you.
Nice to see Dean and all of the things going on over at Camp Keep, especially with geology today. We do have math tutors available until 5:30 most Tuesdays and Wednesdays. However, tomorrow, Wednesday, November 11th, Veterans Day 2020, no live programming, but we will have some pre-recorded programs for you to view. In the meantime, we have an 8th grade student from Warren Junior High School. Vinny is in studio with us right now. And you got your art fix out of the way today, right?
Yes, I did.
All right, time to do a little bit more math. A different type of math, because you were doing some math over there. But let's take a look at this. First of all, how many times do you have a $100 bill on you?
Never.
Nor do I. But let's take a look at the problem anyway. This is number 3 that we're going to work on. Lotta Doe, a lovely name, used a $100 bill to pay for 2 books that cost $11.98 each. So 2 books at $11.98 each. All right. 2 videos that cost $14.49 each. $14.49, and then miscellaneous supplies that cost $24.17. The tax rate is 7 1/4, 7.25%, 7 1/4%. And if you paid for everything with the $100 bill, what would you receive back?
Okay.
So what's the first thing we need to do?
First, we need to solve for 2 and 11.98.
Okay.
So 11, 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 1. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. Add your decimal and you get 23.86.
Okay.
Then you multiply 14.49 by 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 1 is 2. Add the decimal and you get 28.98. Then you add them together.
What's the most, as you're adding them, what's the most important thing to remember about decimals?
You have to align the decimals.
And we don't have to do that when we multiply, do we?
No.
Hold on a second. Let's make sure everything's cool here.
Okay.
So-
18, there's 8.
So 11.98 by 2.
There's 8 and 2. That's, hold on, there's 16, carry the 1. Oh, I see it. Right here. That's 18, right? But this is, I'm sorry, that's 16.
9.
There you go.
9. That's not
So it's 23.96.
bad. Okay.
Yeah, so you know what? Do me a
And you haven't
favor. Yeah, just erase that 8 and 9. So there you go. That way it won't
Yeah.
confuse you later on.
Okay.
Okay. So
There you go.
15. 21.
Okay.
Again. 17. And 7. Okay.
So the total is $77.11, right?
Yeah.
But now we need to figure tax in. So how do you calculate the tax?
You go by tenths, so you have to move the decimal 2 times to the left, so it'll be 0.0725.
And what are we going to do with that?
Have to multiply it.
Okay. And we're going to multiply it. You can work over here if you need to in this space. Okay, talk me through this.
Okay, so 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 7 is 35. Carry the 3. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 3 is
38.
yeah. Then you add a 0. Then you do 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 is 15. add 2 zeros this time. Then you do 7 times 1, which is 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times 7 is 49. And add the 4, it's 53.
Okay. And we really don't need to do the 0, do we?
No.
The last one. Okay, let's add that up.
So 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 times 2 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9, plus 5 is 14. Carry the 1. 4 plus 7 is 11, plus 1 is 12. And 12 plus 8 is 20. 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 9 is 19. Add 1, then 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 3 is 5, and then 5 plus 0 is 5.
And how many times do we need to move the decimal over?
6.
Okay, now the important thing is that we're dealing with money. So when we deal with money,
We have to round it.
round it to what place value?
The hundredths.
Very good.
5.
So is it going to be 5 and 59 cents or 5 and 60 cents?
5 and 60 cents.
What's next to that 9? It's a 0, right?
Yeah.
So we want to keep it at $5.59.
Okay.
Okay, so now what are we going to do with the $5.59?
Subtract it by.
Are we subtracting it or are we adding it on? Because it's tax.
Oh,
so-
we're adding.
So yeah, we have to add it onto our total. So let's add that onto our total.
Okay, and then 1 plus 5 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Then 7 plus 5 is 12. Here the 1, 7 plus 1 is 8.
So it's going to cost us $82.70, right?
Yeah.
Now, we gave a $100 bill, okay? So before you start subtracting, let's kind of use mental math a little bit to get us where we need to be. What's the difference from 70 cents to a dollar?
30.
30 cents, right? So are we going to get back that 30 cents?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have that 30 cents, right? So we're going up to what? Are we going to go up to 83?
Yes.
Okay. So if we go up to the 83, what's the difference from 100 to 83? From 100 to 90 is how much?
10.
10.
And then 7.
7. So
So
it's
17.
$17 and?
30 cents.
There you go. And so we're going to get $17 and
30 cents.
cents back. Now, let me tell you, there is another way to get there. Instead of just multiplying by the 7 1/4, if you were to stick a 1 right here in front of this, and if we multiplied that out, that really would have brought us right to $82.70. And we would have bypassed that one step of having to add. So it would have brought us to our exact total. So whenever you stick a 1, because the 1 represents the whole being the $82.70, the $77.11. That's what that 1 represents, the 100% of the total price. So that's just a little hint for you to go by
A little
next
shortcut
time.
right there. There you go. All right, erase the board. I've got a lovely little problem for you now.
Oh no.
So, do me a favor and write the number 4.
Okay.
Skip a little space, put another 4. Same thing, do another 4. One more time. At the end of it, put equals.
Okay.
Pick a number between 1 and 9.
3.
Put 3 there at the end. So you have to use 4 4s. You can add, multiply, subtract, divide, whatever you want. Use parentheses, square root symbol, anything you want, but you have to have 4 4s come out to equal 3.
fractions.
And I will give you less than 4 minutes.
Oh.
Go.
Okay. Okay. So what are you first thinking?
I picked a terrible number. That's what I'm thinking.
No, you did. You picked a good
And
number.
there is no help. You're there to listen.
No. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Vin.
Oh no. So,
Talk me through it.
really don't know what to do.
Remember, you could do fractions if you need.
We could do.
Start putting things together, see what happens.
So you could do something
Yeah, the key is just put symbols in between the fours and just try something first
Yeah.
and see where you end up with.
Okay.
Okay, use your order of operation.
So 4, 16. 4 by 4 is 4 plus 4, which is 8.
So that one came out to 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Think of what are some numbers that are divisible, that are multiples of 3. Think of that. You have 3, 6,
9, 12.
12.
And would any of those numbers, 3,
Yeah.
6, 9, or 12, have a 4 involved with them?
Yes.
Okay. 12. So 12.
So think, is there any way we could get these to 12 to divide?
So.
Your-
Can I put it on the top?
Yeah,
too?
you could write wherever you want.
Okay.
So the key
Write
is
it,
get
yeah.
something to 12.
Okay.
How could you get some of those to 12?
Can you go 4 times 4 and get 12? No.
What
Can
do
you
you
go
think?
4 plus 4 and get close?
Yeah, I guess.
And then what else would you have to do?
See, addition. Repeated addition.
Oh, okay. So.
And now group all those.
Yeah.
4. Okay. This is.
And what would you have to do to the last 4?
Yep.
Oh, that's awkward. Divide it.
Okay, now make sure you do your parentheses because I'm thinking of order of operation and that's not going to come out correctly. So where do you need your parentheses?
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
Nicely
go.
done.
See, that was a great
Awkward.
You
number.
thought it was going to be an impossible problem.
Yes,
With a little
it
help, you got it right there.
Nice job.
Vinny, 2 questions for you. One,
Yeah.
did you learn a little something today?
Kind of, yeah.
Good. Well, that's why you're here, right? To kind of get a little bit of help, right? And did you have fun today?
Yes, I did.
Good. Well, I'm glad you had some time to come visit us here on Do the Math. And until we meet again, continue to do the math.
Major support for Do the Math has been provided by Chevron, the Kern County Superintendent of Schools, Edison International, Valley Strong Credit Union, California Resources Corporation, Bakersfield West Rotary Stroop Family Foundation, Panama Buena Vista Union School District, Bakersfield City School District, Kern High School District, and AC Electric Company, with additional production assistance provided by these supporters of education in Kern County and throughout the state of California.